Hey, the title of this video is Bitcoin is a Heist. And there's a movie out called Bitcoin Heist. And it's a foreign movie. Now, I already did one video showing the opening scene whereby the accountant who was working with the police ended up in jail, in prison. And the other prisoner that was talking to him, his eye was darkened. So immediately the movie begins with the sign of the Antichrist, telling us something about this whole idea of Bitcoin. So I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I know this will probably produce some comments and feedback. Might even produce some people blasting away at me. That's okay. You're welcome to blast away as long as you're not vulgar or obscene or have associations with pornographic websites. I leave comments up if people are completely in disagreement. I don't remove them. I remove them if I'm certain there's a shill present. But I will leave them up if you want to go ahead and defend Bitcoin. So I'm not going to defend it. I'm going to state from the outset that Bitcoin is a heist. All right? Now, why do I say that? Well, first of all, there is no intrinsic value. Now, by that, I mean you can hold it in your hand, and what you hold in your hand has value. And the U.S. economy was supposed to be based on that. Coins. When you held a gold coin in your hand, you knew you had something because it had intrinsic value. When you had a silver dollar, you knew you had something in your hand because it had value in and of itself, a precious metal. Now, I know that the current system is not based on intrinsic value. And in a way, the whole legal tender system is completely phony because there's no intrinsic value in that either. But the Bitcoin stuff, there's really nothing you can put in your hand and say, I have something of value, like a chunk of gold or a chunk of silver. So all you have is some goofy promise of something that was mined out of a computer, or was mined out of a person's mind. Was mined out of a person's mind. Alright, so there's no intrinsic value. And if you look that up, you're going to get a lot of gizmo junk about stocks and things like that. But I'm going back to the old-fashioned coins. The economy was to be based on coins that you held in your hand that were silver or gold. And that's a whole nother subject of video about the gold standard, the silver standard. I won't get into it right now. But there's no intrinsic value whatsoever in a Bitcoin. Second reason. It's not a government-approved system. And you might say, well, that's really a great thing that it's not a government-approved system. People get excited about that. But it's only by common agreement. In other words, this store accepts Bitcoin and that store does not accept Bitcoin. Well, what if my neighbor accepts Bitcoin? My neighbor on my right accepts Bitcoin, but my neighbor on my left does not. In other words, it's only whoever opts into the system. So it's a system a lot like some of maybe the ancient systems on tropical islands whereby seashells were valuable. Or let's say the tooth of a fish was valuable. All right? Or let's say coconut shells were valuable. It doesn't matter. If you agree to something that is value, then you have a system of exchange. So what they're saying is, we all agree these little Bitcoin things on the computer are of value. But if somebody doesn't agree to it, then you're stuck. So let's say you've accumulated all kinds of Bitcoin points and you think it's going to buy you a car. You go down to the car dealership and they say, well, we don't accept Bitcoin. So you can't buy a car. All right? So the government at least makes a system, no matter what the system is, a system of exchange that is common. And you will see on your dollar bill that it says that this is legal tender accepted for payment of debt. In other words, everybody must accept the US dollar bill in the United States as a system of payment of debt. All right? So if anybody chooses not to opt into this, then your points on your computer are worthless. All right. Number 3. It's not a system accepted by or approved by banks. Now, banks are the #1 means of exchange, deposit, withdrawal. So if the banks are not in favor of it, and you go to a bank and say, I've got X number of bitcoins, excuse me, we'll say, so what? So what? So who's going to give you dollars? Because that's what's accepted in the United States as the system of exchange, the system of payment of debt. So if the banks don't want them, you're in trouble. All right? Now I know you might say, such and such a store wants them. Fine. But wait till the day the store says that they don't want them anymore. All right, number 4, who is really in charge of this system? You don't know. All you know is click on here if you want to buy into it. That's all you know. All right? You have no clear authority. Now I know that you're probably saying, well, I don't like the authority that stands behind the US dollar. Well, maybe I don't either. But it's all I've got. It's all I've got to make the payment of my debts. So who really is going to go to bat for you? Now you can't take this into a court system. And I know the court systems are corrupt. Don't start on me. I know that. I know they're all courts of Baal. I know that. But at least in the courts of Baal, there's agreement. They love what Baal loves to give to people, the love of money. so that at least the courts will say such and such a damage was done, therefore the client owes so and so X number of dollars. All right? So who is the authority? You don't know. You're giving a bunch of baloney about this network and stuff like that. So, all right. So number 5. Number 5, is trying to show you the price of the Bitcoin. What is it that you really have in your possession? They make it look like they're stocks, but they're not stocks. They might make it look like it's a bond, but it's not a bond. What is it? You don't even know. Because it is a scam, that's why. So, here's some kind of a showing you the values of the Bitcoin. And I guess I don't understand it completely, so I'm going to confess it. If you want to say you don't know much about it, so what are you talking about? That's what I had people do that to me when I did the Leonard Nimoy as Bobby Fischer. You don't know anything about chess. I'm like, well, okay, maybe I don't. But I know about the hoax liars. Now, I do know a little something about chess, but that's how people attacked me. You don't know anything about chess. Well, why do I have to know anything about chess to show you there's an actor that plays Bobby Fischer? Okay, so I guess this is saying that one Bitcoin with the capital letter B is worth $30,000, 414.62. Now this thing changes every couple of minutes. That figure goes up, it goes down. All right. So they're treating it like it's a stock, stocks on the stock market. So they're telling you that it goes up and down. So it's not a fixed rate. All right. So supposedly you can track the price of your Bitcoins on any one day. And this gives you some propaganda about what it is. Talks about a network. Okay. The number of transactions. Now I want to tell you something. All of this could be completely phony. All of it. It's just gibberish. Okay? So if anybody has had Bitcoin and exchanged it, I'd like to hear from you. Now I'm not doubting there could be exchanges and people get cash it in and get money. And the reason I'm not doubting that is this. They want to build up the credibility of this scam so that they can get more and more every day, and then all of a sudden just pull the plug on it. And just say, oh, overnight Bitcoin crashed. And then you go and say, I want my money back, I want my money back. And then all the people that exchange it say, well, we're sorry, we're busted. Which means you're busted. You're left holding it, whatever the heck it is or isn't. Now I'm just going to come right out and say it, that Bitcoin is not only a heist. The title of that movie should be a clue. Bitcoin Heist. It's a heist. That's the title of the movie. Okay, it's not only a heist, But Bitcoin is a huge scam. All right. Now, if you want to disagree, you go right ahead. I'll welcome the disagreement. No problem there. Anybody that wants to yell and scream, you don't know anything about Bitcoin, fine. I'll say the same thing. Maybe I don't know anything about Bitcoin, but I know about these liars. I know about these hoaxers. I've been on to them for a number of years now. And they know how to conduct one huge, large scam. They know how to do it. And they create these funds. Millions of dollars come into them for phony tragedies. One thing I was on to a while back was the Johnstown flood. And all the money that came in for something that really never happened. Well, anyhow, as you can see, or you can hear, I'm pretty passionate about what these scammers do to people. And I'm just going to go ahead and take a stance. Bitcoin is a scam. If you're in it, get out of it while you can. Maybe redeem some of your dollars. Get out of it. Don't be stuck with a bunch of stupid points in a computer saying it's worth money. Just get out. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching. I always like to thank anyone that gets to the end of my videos. Blessings to you. End of video.